I don't think we should talk about this. Come on, why not? People might misunderstand what we're trying to say, you know?
See, now I don't think it's a misunderstanding. I just think people don't want to talk about it.
Welcome to my 5th broadcast of Might As Well Talk About It. Broadcast number 5. Why? Because I'm keeping it alive. I'm still alive. So I'm just so thankful, y'all. Thank you to everyone who has shared, who has liked, who has subscribed, who have commented on my post, on my videos. It keeps the fuel in me to keep going, to keep driving this vehicle, to drive through, to get to this peace of mind. And I want y'all to come with me. You know, I know that there are many out there who are struggling with that fight of trying to get a peace of mind, that peace of mind that we once took for granted, I'm sure, that now we like, okay, I know how important it is to have peace, to have good energy, to be tranquil, to just be in a serene, solemn place in your mind, that you are just, you know, all I'm focusing on is positive things. That's what we want. That's what we want to fight for. So this journey for me is important because I'm out here trying to, I'm here to pursue a purpose of helping others out there who may be going through the same thing, along with helping myself. So this journey is for you and for me. Those of you who have not seen any of my videos yet, feel free to go on my YouTube channel and just watch some of my past videos and just tell me what you think. Feel free to jump on the comments. If you can relate, if it's something that you want to ask, any questions, feel free to jump on the comments. It doesn't matter how long ago it's been since you've seen it or how long ago that the video has been posted. Just feel free to comment. I need it. I need to see that you all are interacting and that I'm doing something right. Or even if it's wrong, comment. I don't want a whole bunch of foolishness now, but still, just comment if it's positive. I want to see it all. So I want to get started. I want to share my journals, or what I've been doing is I'll share my journals with you all. And this journal was written December the 5th, 2016. And I said, hello, I have not written in my journal for almost 2 months. One reason being I didn't feel up to it anymore on my days. And 2, because I just allowed days and days to pass without writing. And before I knew it, it's been almost 2 months. Well, I am delighted to update in my journal today. Well, I have great news. I'm sorry, in my 2 months of absence from writing, I have definitely made a lot of progress. I'll start with saying I had stopped taking the meds sometime in October after my last journal notes. And to be honest, I'm glad I did, because things have still apparently gotten better for me without the meds, which proves that I didn't necessarily need it in the first place. Now, as far as my progress in general, I have grown to accept and understand this whole anxiety thing a lot more since October. Accepting it apparently was my start to recovery. Although I still had my days of worry, fear, and questioning, I guess after realizing I never died yet or passed out yet, knock on wood, I started to think more that maybe it's all just anxiety, because of course I'd constantly have these negative, fearful thoughts while going through this, that I was soon to die or that I'm going to pass out, which is both my biggest fear of this whole ordeal. Well, I guess with time, things had no choice but to get better or help me discover what I needed to. And as time went and I continued to get through my panic attacks and symptoms of anxiety and fearful days and restless days, it all got better. I began to feel myself calm down more mentally. I began to notice I wasn't so afraid to sleep anymore. I wasn't so trapped in my mind thinking constantly about the panic attacks. Yes, I did and do still have my days of being uncomfortable, but I began to notice how I would continue on about my day, doing some, not all, but some of my usual routine chores and mommy duties for my kids, getting out the house, also having things to do for my business. And then as time came along, I then began to notice how when I was distracted or doing whatever I was doing, I didn't pay any attention to my anxiety or its symptoms, almost feeling as if none of it was there. So that began to resonate in my mind, like, wow, I was just at my daughter's event for 2 hours and didn't even really feel any anxiety. Slowly but surely, every day moving forward became easier. My momentum, drive, and ambition to fight for myself, my goals I had once in my life, my spirit came back. And even my appetite and slowly my weight is picking back up. Yay. And as far as symptoms, I still get them. Still, the occasional anxiety will be there throughout my day, but I have learned slowly to ignore it. I'm getting used to being uncomfortable. The anxiety forum, I must say, helped in my process. Symptoms that are still around: dizziness, off balance, head pressure, ear fullness, ears ringing, muscle twitches, numbness in certain areas, dull headaches, difficulty swallowing, shallow breathing, brain fog, blurry vision. Yes, all of these things. These are the main things I still get to date, not all at once. Sometimes one or two I feel throughout the day. Some days it switches up. But I've definitely gotten better with accepting it. Especially after realizing it's not going away. I've spent countless days going to doctor's visits, money for doctor's visits, getting my blood drawn numerous times, all to get results back that are clear. The feeling detached or derealization has even wore off a bit. I actually feel like I'm in my own body for a chance, especially when I'm driving. My confidence in myself is coming back. I'm starting to accept the new me better. I pray heavily, and that has helped me the most. Yes, I still cry from time to time. Cry because I'm happy to see my progress, and cry when I have my down days. But I feel like I got a grip on the whole thing a lot. I feel like I got a grip on this whole thing a lot better. I know I'm still far from over with this process and journey. I still have some figuring out to do and learning who I am all over again. Some annoying symptoms I still get from time to time, and yes, there's more. Basically, dizziness, upset stomach, nausea, some aches, ear pressure. But what I'm so glad is that my boyfriend helped me throughout the most. But what I'm so glad that my boyfriend helped me through the most was the nausea and upset stomach part, because I would let it defeat me and wouldn't eat like I needed to, which aided in my major weight loss. But he continued to support me and push me to eat. He basically told me to eat through it. Regardless of feeling nausea, to still eat through it. And lo and behold, I was able to eat and never actually threw up like I kept thinking. And that led to better eating days, which led to my appetite growing back, which is helping me to get my weight back like I need. Most important, the nutrients that my body was lacking from not eating. My sleeping is still a little struggle, but it's coming along. Still need to work towards a better sleep schedule to help get me back on track. But all in all, I had so much to be grateful for moving forward. I'm going to work a few days a week over this Christmas season to make to make some much needed money. So from August to November was the biggest struggle of it, and I can definitely see the progress. And oh yeah, I almost forgot to note, God delivered me from my kidney situation that I thought I had. Turned out my kidneys were fine. And thank you for sitting through that journal. I remember that journal because, like I said, if you all watched my previous videos, I said that I had quit working at one time, and when my anxiety journey, when the worst happened to me, it was from like June to like August or September is when everything, to like November is when everything was just so bad for me. I had become a different person in this anxiety journey. But I remember that post because things were finally kind of coming around. I was seeing some better days. My weight, for one, oh, thank God, my weight was coming back on bit by bit. I had begun to learn to eat better. And at the time, I know I mentioned in one of my videos that the doctors, they were wrong about saying something was wrong with my kidneys when there was never nothing wrong with my kidneys. But at that time, when I wrote the journal, I had just found out that, things were fine with my kidneys, and I journaled it that particular day. I was feeling a little bit liberated of going through what I was going through and saying like, okay, maybe this is anxiety, okay, I can do this, I can get through this, so I remember that. So thank you for sitting through that, and I'm going to move along to the fun part of one of the better parts of my broadcast or of my videos. I wanted to unravel more about what I talked about on my last video when I was speaking of my OCD and how it basically manifested from my anxiety. So I kind of gave you all some descriptions of OCD and what all I was going through. So I kind of felt like it was sensible to elaborate a little bit more on anxiety, on how anxiety has fully manifested more plights in my life, like depression, OCD, social anxiety, health anxiety, and paranoia. Now, although I was never clinically diagnosed with any of those other issues except for the anxiety and the depression, I do feel that to some degree, I was beginning to experience a lot of the symptoms and behaviors of these other situations and issues that came about. I do believe that anxiety was definitely the culprit of these developments, because before my anxiety became GAD, or it became a real situation in my life, I wasn't going through none of these things. I'm gonna tell you, when I very first posted on Facebook about my very first panic attack, which happened in 2015, someone left me a comment saying, take care of yourself, baby girl, because anxiety is real. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not take that heavily into consideration of what she meant by anxiety is real, but I'm understanding it now, because yes, anxiety is real. I never used to worry so excessively. I mean, I was a worrier. I did think a lot. I was a type of person that always stayed in my head, lived in my head a lot. Ever since a kid, I can remember that I had an imagination out of this world, so I was always in my head a lot. But growing up and, going through my teenage years and my adulthood, I never really worried excessively about things. I never had a problem sleeping. Never had those certain compulsive behaviors. I never had obsessive thoughts like that. I never worried too much or thinking about my health as much as I've begun to do, and going to the doctors as much as I have been. I wasn't as melancholy or feeling so pensive at the drop of a dime. I never had an issue with speaking in front of people or speaking to people. I knew for sure I never perceived most things or people as a threat to me or a threat to my life and my health. Like, I've become vexed with it all, because it's like, as fast as all of these different plights came to attack me, and it came on so fast to me, like I looked up and it's like a light switch. Okay, now I'm dealing with all of these things. It's taken forever or so long to try to get through it, or to try to pull through it and work through it, or get over it, or conquer these things. You know what I'm saying? And I would just feel down all day, and my motivation was gone, my ambition was gone, my drive was gone. Like I didn't go through that before. I mean, of course, if I had days where I was disappointed, or something upset me, or I was angry about something, or I went through some type of experience or issue in my life, I didn't allow it to get me down that long. You know what I'm saying? I've had my times of being down and hurt and cried, but I'm the type of person that I would keep it going. If plan A didn't work, I'm on to plan B. Plan B didn't work, I'm on to plan C, and all the way down to the alphabet, the letter Z. If it needed to be, I was just the type of person that I didn't mind to keep it pushing if I needed to. I believe I was once a tenacious individual. Like, I was strong-minded and strong-willed to try to just fight for whatever it is that I wanted, if I felt like it was real and I wanted to do it. But once that GAD came along, I get down so easily. I'm much more sensitive. My heart is broken faster. I cry more. So I know for sure anxiety pretty much brought all of this along. I can truly remember, like, for months at a time, every day straight, for several months at a time, I cried every day, every single day. Just imagine crying for 3-4 months straight. When I first was going through this and I didn't know what was happening to me, and I was becoming insecure and down and feeling just uncomfortable, and just feeling no confidence in myself. I cried every day, y'all, for several months straight. Just imagine crying so much to where my tears were depleted. I didn't even have no more tears. I would just making the face, but ain't even no tears coming out. But have you ever literally cried but no tears was coming out, but you really were crying? That's how it was for me. That's how bad it had gotten. I remember never having any sleep problems or sleep issues before GAD came along. I would sleep with no problem. If I was tired, even if I needed to take a nap, I never had an issue with taking a nap throughout the day and still being able to go to sleep at night. But once GAD came along and insomnia hit, yes, I would say the main reason why the insomnia probably hit was because I was afraid to go to sleep, because I was always thinking of death, thinking I was dying, thinking that if I go to sleep that I wouldn't wake up. And that's when insomnia kicked in, and it just got to a point where it was hard for me to go to sleep and stay asleep. And if I did go to sleep, I would be awakened up by panic attacks, or I would wake up because I tossed and turned, and that was it for me for the rest of that night. It was hard for me to go back to sleep. Literally for several months going through this, when everything first happened to me, for several months, I might have gotten 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep. I was very sleep deprived. I don't even know. I was making it off of false energy. I don't know how I was still making it through the days sometimes, y'all. Worried about my health. Okay, yes, I've always worried and thought about, like, okay, I was the type of person, I made sure I took care of myself as far as going to get the regular common checkups that most people should get, your yearly checkups. But once this GAD came along, I was going to the hospital. I already mentioned this in my other videos, but yes, I was going to hospitals and clinics and doctors left and right, trying to get blood drawn, just worried, thinking about my health, scared, and thinking something bad has happened to me, thinking I got some sinister illness, and even with my kids. And I ain't gonna lie, I think my daughter was the one that really sparked more of my anxiety, of health anxiety, because with my youngest one, I had to go to the doctors with her so many times. I was always in the hospitals with her and just discovering new things about her that I didn't go through with my first daughter. So having my second daughter, she was a totally different breed of a child. I was in the hospital all the time with her. So I think that sparked and amped up my health anxiety of being afraid and thinking about my health. And of course, too, I feel like any mother or anybody who's a mother and they love their children and your existence on this earth because of your kids mean that much to you, of course you're going to be afraid and worried, begin to kind of worry about your life and worry about health because you want to be here for your kids. But yeah, like, before GAD came along, I wasn't always going to these doctors like that, but now that GAD done decided to want to come and impale me, yes, I've been constantly going to those doctors, worried about my health, thinking I'm dying from some sinister illness, you name it, any illness you could think of. I thought I had it, and I'm Googling and just worried and all kind of stuff. I pretty much depleted my bank account too. I mean, because I was the type of person, I managed my money well, and I had a nice little bank account because I felt like, I needed that security of being able to take care of my kids if anything should happen, that I had to either stop working or whatever, for whatever reason. It was my safety money, it was my go-to money, it was my emergency money. And I was proud of my bank account because I didn't touch it. It was, solely for emergency reasons, or reasons that, if I'm going to dig into it, it's a real reason. Well, I guess unfortunately, it had to happen like this. But I guess, thankfully, I had that type of money, because the type of money I was spending at those doctors, I would have been a lost soul on these streets, just with nothing, because I don't know how I would have had the money to go to these doctors. And it probably would have drove me insane, because if I didn't have the money to go to the doctors, I would have been worrying myself crazy because I couldn't even get to the doctors and pay, for these doctors visits. So yes, but y'all, I literally depleted my account down to almost zero, spending money on doctors and doctors visits. I remember, being more, inclined to speaking to people, or speaking in public, or being able to talk to people and hold a conversation without feeling inferior, or, without being scared to talk. But once this GAD came along and hit me, I don't know what it was, but I just became like socially challenged. It was at one point where it was like I literally felt shy. And if I had to hold a conversation with somebody, I could feel myself rambling, or it would be times it seemed like I would be lost for words, or become forgetful and forget what it is I'm trying to say. And I'm just holding a simple conversation with somebody that I knew, or even if I didn't know. I never had a problem with, approaching people or speaking to people if they spoke to me and holding a conversation. But once GAD came along, it was hard to talk to people sometime, and I became more isolated with the situation. And it was this whole thing like, oh gosh, like I don't even know how to speak, like, and definitely speaking in public or doing something where I had to speak out to people. Oh, that was a big no-no after that GAD came along. But that's why I'm doing this broadcast. That's why this journey is also special for me, because it's a journey to face this social challenge with trying to become more confident in speaking with people and being able to socialize, the social butterfly that I believe that I can be. I mean, how am I going to be an advocate for something, or to be able to be a spokesperson, or to be able to speak to people to help others if I'm not even able to socialize and hold a conversation? And I found it very difficult to even initiate conversations with people. I was always an introverted person, but I became way more introverted. I was like just to a point where just shy to even want to talk and hold a conversation. Doing these videos has definitely helped so far, so I'm thankful. That's another reason why I'm glad, and I'm going to continue to do this whether people have something good or bad to say about what I'm doing. About the paranoia, this one is a very interesting yet an intricate topic to talk about, because I know when people think of paranoia, you kind of think about it's somebody who's behaving in a manner of being very vigilant or hyper vigilant about themselves or about what's around them, because they feel like somebody's like out to get them. And so I know it's a tough situation to speak on, but I do believe to some extent that I have developed some bit of paranoia in myself, because I've never, before this GAD came along, I've never felt like the environment or people around me was a threat to me. And I don't necessarily mean threat meaning like I know for sure or I think that somebody's trying to harm me and kill me. No. Now that I think about it, yeah, I actually was at one point a bit paranoid about thinking that somebody was out to get me. I had a pen and pad trying to write it down, trying to figure out what was going on in my life. I had to think back like, well, dang, which one of these dudes or which relationship I was in my past that somebody done wronged me. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to y'all, I was literally for months trying to figure it out, just going back to my past relationships, just trying to see like, well, was it one of the guys that, hey, maybe this guy decided he wanted to put some voodoo on me, put some hocus pocus on me or something. Forgive my verbiage, but I was just like, which one of these bum dudes trying to take me out? Like, one of them, somebody want me gone. So yeah, I had begun to be a little paranoid about thinking somebody in my past is trying to do something to me. I was just like, it's just no way that this could be anxiety, that anxiety could just come on me like this. It's like it was like a light switch. Like I went from one day feeling normal, feeling myself, feeling 100%, just doing me, to just everything became opposite. My whole world became like it's just like everything in my environment just became a scary place. The world became a scary place for me from one day to the next. It was like night and day, and I'm like, there's no way anxiety could have did this. Somebody did this to me. So I started going back to all my I had to look at my resume like, okay, which one of these dudes trying to take me out? After basically some diligent evaluation, it was anxiety. You know, I felt like I could conquer the world, and then immediately the world came tumbling down on me. That cloud that I was on when I was being so oblivious back in the day, not paying attention to a lot of things and just trying to just live my life, and I wasn't paying attention to a lot. That cloud that I was on, I fell off that cloud, and when I came crashing down to the earth, it was almost like I was that scared little girl again. It's like the earth just became a scary place for me. Everything around me, my environment, the people. But I do believe like it's hard for me to trust people now, or trust my environment, trust the foods that I'm eating. I've become so vigilant about y'all, let me tell you something. I've thrown away so much food. I've thrown away money, you might as well say, overgeneralizing about things again. But it's like, it's that alertness that's in me that's like, okay, I need to check, because I just want to make sure nothing ain't gonna happen to me. And it's because of being afraid of getting sick, and I've become afraid of possibly getting food poisoning or catching something. Or y'all should see how I am about going outside now. I used to not even care to if a mosquito bit me, you know, I ain't think nothing of it. I pop myself or flick the mosquito off of me and think nothing of it. But now a mosquito bite me, y'all, I'm all hysterical. I go on Google trying to figure out what kind of mosquito it was to see if the mosquito carrying some type of virus or disease is gonna get me or about to take me out. Like it's crazy, y'all. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, is that considered paranoia to you? If not, feel free to comment. Or would it still be considered OCD? Or is it just basically just over anxiousness? You know, but either way it go, feel free to comment. Let me know, share your story. What has anxiety manifested for you that you know for sure you haven't been going through one time before? Feel free to jump in the comments. So I would like to conclude with this. Battlefield of the Mind. Like I said, I love this book. It was very informative and it helped me through my journey. I would read this book quite often. It just kind of reinforced positive things in my mind. So it says here about not giving up. And it says, no matter how bad the condition of your life and your mind, don't give up. Regain the territory the devil has stolen from you. If necessary, regain it 1 inch at a time. Always leaning on God's grace and not on your own ability to get the desired results. And in Galatians 6:9, the Apostle Paul simply encourages us to keep on keeping on. Don't be a quitter. Don't have that old give up spirit. God is looking for people who will go all the way and go through with him. Positive minds produce positive lives. Negative minds produce negative lives. Positive thoughts are always full of faith and hope. Negative thoughts are always full of fear and doubt. Some people are afraid to hope because they have been hurt so much in life. They have so many disappointments. They don't think they can face the pain of another one. Therefore, they refuse to hope so they won't be disappointed. So basically, you cannot have a positive life and a negative mind. So basically, you just learn to choose positive thoughts. Back to what I was saying in my last video. You know, focus on what it is that you want to happen instead of focusing on what you don't want to happen. Or focus more on something that can lead you more in a positive path or a positive state of mind versus always focusing and allowing the negativity to keep you trapped and keep you in that box. And I know it's hard. It's easier said than done when you have someone telling you to just try to focus on being positive. When you're in that frame of mind and you've allowed your thoughts to pretty much take control of when your emotions have taken over, sometimes it's hard to do, but people can say it all day until they're going through it. So with that said, I would just like to tell you that, you know, just keep on keeping on and keep pushing through, and it's going to work. And that's why I'm doing this broadcast, because I feel like this is a way to just conquer our fears, conquer what we're going through, just one broadcast at a time. So I would like to thank you all for joining me, for watching, for liking, for subscribing. I will continue to keep doing this. This is for you. This is for, basically, like I said, for my family. We're family with brothers and sisters of the struggle. So I look forward to seeing you all on my next broadcast of the Might As Well Talk About It. Again, I'm Ebony J, and I will see you all next time.